Hello everyone and welcome to She Rides, a podcast where women cycling takes lead. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Christoph, and today we're diving into the latest race results and hot topics in women's cycling.
And we have a guest joining us to share her story. Let's get started. Ready? Hi everyone and welcome to episode 40 of She Rides. We had some smaller Belgian races. We also had the strange UCI situation in Tour de Romandie. And we have a nice guest with us today. Hi, Valerie.
Hello, thank you for the invite.
Yeah, we're super happy to have you on. For the people who don't know you yet, who is Valerie Demey?
Valerie Demey is a Belgian rider. I'm living now in Ravels, but I'm originally from Bruges. I'm already a couple of years in the women peloton. Cycling is my passion. I think that sums it up all. Actually not. It's a real story because nobody in my family has something to do with cycling, and I also don't know how it got into my path, but I was a very active kid and I did a lot of sports. I did athletics, I did badminton. I went also to a sports school where we did all different kind of sports. And I think one day I said to my parents like, oh, maybe I want to ride a bike. So they bought a very cheap bike and the glasses from the kermis. Yeah, I stick to cycling. I don't know why, but I guess I liked it the most. And I think from my 13 year, I'm now 31. So it's a number that I was on the bike. So yeah.
Yeah, so growing up in Belgium, maybe apart from your family, cycling is pretty much everywhere. But yeah, of course, you're a girl in a boys' world. What was the scene like when you started?
When I started, it was like aspirants 13 year, and then I did every week races, but it was together with the boys. And then, yeah, there was also one other girl or two other girls, not a lot. But yeah, I don't know. Even I was dropped after one lap, and I liked it. And every week we went again with full enthusiasm. And I remember that I already quite early told my parents, like, yeah, I really like it, and maybe I want to do it as a job one day. But everybody thought, yeah, no, you are crazy. It's not possible. It's you cannot earn money with it. It's a boy sport. All that kind of things people told me. But yeah, I thank my parents a lot, but because they also kept believing in it. So I kept riding my bike, and yeah, I made a transition with women's cycling because I saw the evolution. My beginning years as a pro, I was riding for nothing, for shirts and pants and a bike, but I kept believing in it, and yeah, in the end, it did become my job. So yeah, I believed in it. I don't know why, but I believed in it that it was possible.
And yeah, of course, there wasn't much women's cycling going on around the time you started out, like in terms of media and sort of stuff. But did you have riders you looked up to when you were younger?
Yeah, and against all odds, I think, because I was also quite a good student, and everybody was like, the teachers told me, like, what do you want to be later? And everybody was thinking, yeah, maybe you want to do studies like bioengineering or something. And I remember my answer was, no, I want to be a pro cyclist. So yeah, actually quite early, and I kept trying to combine studying and cycling, but at one point I just had to give up the bike too much for my studies, that I decided, no, I stop studying, I start cycling. So yeah, it was quite early. Yeah. Well, yeah, actually, and she's still around. I think when I was younger, Marianne Vos was already on the top of cycling, so she was also the first idol I had. But also like Lizzie Danian. Then in the time she was Lizzie Armitstad, but that were like really, yeah, role models, examples. Like, I want to be like them, but it was not so much on TV, so I couldn't follow it a lot. So I also started to watching men's racing, and then it was a bit the time of Tom Bonen and a bit of that time. But yeah, my first idols was, I think, for a lot of girls, Marianne Vos and Armitstad, and yeah, that kind of girls. Emma, I forget her name.
Emma
Um,
Johansson.
Emma Johansson,
Yeah.
she was also on top of cycling that time. So they were really like, when I saw them in real life, I was like, whoa. And then, Lizzie now retires and Marianne is still in the peloton. So it's quite crazy actually.
Yeah, nice. Like you've been in the peloton quite a while now, from like childhood on. How many editions have you done? Question that pops up every Flemish spring here in Belgium is a quite popular one. So can you just take us back to the beginning of your career? How was it like at the beginning of your, well, let's say elite career,
Elite.
because it was probably not pro career back then, or it was not called that way. Not
Yeah, it's not called
100%
that way.
probably. Yeah.
No, it's not called the same way, but actually I did the same races. Also,
Yeah.
my first year as a pro, I raced Nieuwsblad. I raced Dwars door Vlaanderen. I did 13 times Omloop Het Nieuwsblad. We discovered that this year. So
See,
but now every race I started this year was like, oh, it's like 10 time, it's like 11 time, it's like 13 time. And Nieuwsblad is actually the race I did every year of my career so far. So I did it 13 times. But then, I started it as a club rider. I was riding for Keukensredant. It's a club. And it was still able as a club rider to start in those big races. Even as a junior, I did already a couple of UCI races with the national team. So now it's not possible anymore. The club teams, they have they have it actually really difficult. I think the Keukensredant is now an UCI team also, I think, not a club team anymore. But, it's really difficult for those kind of teams to discover big races. And in the beginning of my career, it was possible to discover those races. And then it developed a bit by bit by bit. And then I think my first pro, if you can call it pro year, was 2016. Then I signed a contract with Sport Vlaanderen. They still had a women's team then. But I still didn't earn nothing. Only the second year I started earning something. And from then on, it went quite fast. Then I went to Lotto Soudal. At that time, Lotto Soudal. Then I went to CCC Live, where I got to be teammates with my big idol, Marianne Vos. And I stuck a long time in that team. And then now the past 2 years, I moved to Volker Wessels. But evolution, it's crazy to think about my first years as a pro and how it goes now. Even small things like the team buses and stuff like that. In the beginning, I went to the race with the car and like a chair from Decathlon and washing things, not a bus at all. Now everybody has a bus.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's quite the evolution you've been through, right? And then
Yeah.
do you actually remember your first World Tour race, Valerie? And then what was the biggest shock probably stepping onto that level? I can
Yeah.
imagine as a youngster or as someone like
I
sticking her
think the
nose
real
into business is like, what is this? Or were
I
you just
think
like,
the
nah, told you
real
so?
Yeah. I think the real world tour only got introduced in 2009. No, 2019 or 2020. I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
late.
but like the really first big race where all the big teams was for me Ronde van Vlaanderen. In 2016, when I was with Sport Vlaanderen UCI team, we got the invite to ride Vlaanderen, and that was for me like, whoa. It was then already for the women's. It was one of the biggest races on the calendar. It was a classic, the biggest in public along the road. Compared to now, we started early, so there were already a lot of people for the men's race also watching the women. So it was great. Just the Vlaanderen races, it was crazy with the public and the level. And I started with no expectations. And if I look back now, maybe it was my best edition I did for myself, because I had no expectations and you just try to follow as long as you can. And so it's difficult because it's already a long time. But for me, that's my really first experience with like a big race, which you would say now World Tour race. I think that's that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, like you said, like we said already. But during your career, the women's peloton has changed a lot in just a few years. Longer races, better contracts, more media exposure. But to you, Valerie, what is the biggest difference compared to when you started on the elite level? Like the biggest? I mean, there's a lot probably, but
Yeah, that's a good question. If I have to pick one, it's quite difficult because I always had the feeling it's like the story of the chicken and the egg, which come first. And I have the feeling it all came together because they started, so they started also. So they, bigger salaries, bigger races, bigger calendar. But I think if I have to describe it in one word, I would just say professionalism. The world of women's cycling just got more professional, and I think that describes all the assets, salaries, the races, the team around the cyclist. Because I remember I went to the biggest races, also stage races with only 3 people of staff, a DS, a Swanee, and a mechanic, 3 people for 6 riders. And now we go to, even if we go to 6-day races or 7-day, not even the tour, we already have 6 or 7 or 8 people. So that also, so I would say just professionalism.
Yeah, great. Yeah, of course. And Valerie, actually, is there anything you miss from those earlier days? Because when we grow older, we always think like, oh, back in the day.
Yeah, I actually this year, how you say it in English, I think a lot like how when in the early days it was all not so difficult, I sometimes say. And I think that is because there is a lot of input, there are a lot of people around. You get, this man has his opinion, she has her opinion, and then I think back like, a few years ago was not so difficult. I just get up in the morning, I go on my bike, I ride my bike, I do my training, I come back, and it's done for the day. And now you have to think about this. You have to think about your computer, your numbers, So if I have to say something that I miss, it's probably simplicity,
Yeah, like back in the days, take your own Decathlon chair with you. You're glad that timing
for
is.
example. But I think that's maybe then the opposite of what I just said is like nowadays you can also just go to the race and you don't have to think about everything anymore. When I used to go to a stage race in France, I had to think about, okay, I need to bring food because the food there, we slept in schools and it was not nice. So I knew I had to bring this, I have to bring that, I have to think about this, and now you know that the team will take care of it. So maybe the thing that I don't miss then is thinking about everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a bit of how you say it, what I said earlier.
It's
Yeah.
a mix. Every good side has its bad side, or how do you say it? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And do you have what's your favorite memory from the early days of your elite career, Valerie? Do you have a real crazy story you want to share with us from back in the days?
Whoa, I have a lot of stories, but the one I think about, and it's crazy to say, it's like a very nice moment in my career, but I was still riding for, it's not a crazy story, but it's just a nice memory. I was doing the goodbye race of Lisbeth de Vocht. It was, I don't know if you know her, but she was, the best Belgian rider at the time. But it was like a kermis race, but it was her goodbye race, and I was still riding for Keukense like a small team. And I knew then at the start line there was, I think, Marianne Vos, Van Vleuten, the whole Rabobank team at the time, all big riders. And I was there as a club rider, and I don't know what happened, but at one point there was a breakaway with all those riders, Jolien Doorn, and I was in it. And I was like, what is happening? What is happening? And then after three or four laps, I also got dropped from the breakaway. But it was so, the moment of riding 3 or 4 laps with your biggest idols in a small kermis race. It was not even a big race. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
for me like one of the nicest memories I have actually. It's a really really small Belgian kermis race, but it was with the biggest riders, and the moment of the breakaway, it's just crazy memory.
Yeah, best memories are often in smaller events or smaller races or smaller days.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I can tell a lot of stories about my cycling, but then we need a whole evening and some nice drinks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Then racing on home roads with all the Belgian crowds like Tour of Flanders, Valerie, like Omloop Het Nieuwsblad, even the start scene at Omloop Het Nieuwsblad in het Kuipke, for example. Then the cobble sections and everything like that. It must really hit different as a rider, doesn't it? What is it like for you? Do you thrive on it? Does it give you more energy? Are you gaining 5% because of the crowd cheering on all the women racing?
Maybe, yeah, I think maybe in the beginning, like I already said, I did it 13 times. So at one point it starts to feel normal. But yeah, in the beginning, when you did those races, like I said, first time Vlaanderen, also like first time the beginning of Nieuwsblad with the presentation in Keuken. It's not, I think it's since 2019 they do it in Keuken. And that really gives a special feeling. When I started riding, I watched TV and then you see Flanders and Roubaix and, then you're like, oh, I want to be a classic rider. I want to ride the cobbles. You have in your head the idea like, I want to be a good Flemish rider. I want to be good in those races. Those are my races. And then if you actually start them, then yeah, you're maybe a bit hyped by yourself because you like, well, now I start in the biggest race of all and cobbles. There's nothing nice about cobbles because on training I would never do cobbles. But then the race, it's just like a bit of a heroic feeling, like Roubaix, it's fantastic race, but I would never go train in that area on those cobbles. But that race, it's just you want to finish it. You want to have the blisters on your hands. You just want to go and lay down on the track of Roubaix. And it's about stories, I think, also.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. When I hear people say like, "Oh, I like cobbles," it's like, what the hell? No, you don't. No, you don't.
You can ride good on them, but that doesn't mean you like them.
It's like you're a bad liar. Nobody likes them. Come on.
No, difficult to believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I share your opinion. And then, speaking of big crowds, Valerie, you've ridden the last Tour de France Femme avec Swift. How was that experience? I mean, at least on television, it looked like, wow, this is like a main event, even for women cycling now too. Like they are everywhere now. Happy with how it went? And personal highlights. Share us your story about the tour.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think if I also did the first one in 2022, and if I compare the edition of 2025, it's bigger, it's crazier, then it was already like, whoa. And now it's like, people in between the buses that you couldn't almost ride fast to the presentation because you had to go around all the people. So yeah, it's really crazy. Also in Bretagne, sometimes during the race, I was like, diving for the spectators sometimes because it was really, there were so much people, but it gives also so much energy, and knowing that they come for the women's race because it's not there is a man race afterwards or there was a men's race before. No, it's only that event on that day and they come for you. So first of all, that's pretty crazy. And then personally, I think we as a team, Volker Wessels, we had an amazing Tour de France. I think the first 5-6 days we were not out of the top 10 with a rider. Eline Janssens 2 times top 10. Then Margot, her 6th place was crazy. And then we were also every day in the breakaways. So we showed ourselves, but we also delivered results. And that all together with the atmosphere in the team, it was such a fun week. We were always early at the start, and then we saw the caravan, the publicity caravan, and instead of staying in the bus, we went out of the bus and we were there like, throw stuff at us. So it's just so much fun also with the group that we were there, and it went super good. So then everything is like an upwards spiral,
Yeah, great. Top-notch experience.
For sure.
And then going from top-notch experience to top-notch experience, Valerie, you're kind of a regular in the Belgian national team by now, right? What is it like being...
Yes.
Yeah, you're a regular. Just say it like it is. What is it like being part of the team in blue?
Well, also
Volker Wessels is blue as well, but you know what I mean, right? The team in blue is the Belgian national team.
Belgian blue.
Yeah.
Also, that developed a lot throughout the years, especially the past few years. We also, despite coming from all different teams, I have the feeling that we all nowadays respect each other more. And we want to go through fire also for your nation, and not only for your team, like you do for your team, we also do now for our nation, because we also have Lotte Kopecky, so we know she can win the race. But even when she's not at the start line, we would go through fire for each other. So it's really nice environment. And also when we see each other in the bunch, it's nice, always a nice connection and a nice talk and a nice atmosphere. And so it's really, really developed also a lot, I think, in how we behave around each other in the national team. So it's quite nice, actually. I like it a lot, actually, to go on the road with the national team.
Yeah, nice to see riders who like to go with the national team. Like on the men's side, it's not always the case.
I think, yeah, it's still different. I think also because the men's, they have a bigger, how you say it, a bigger pool, you know, they have more
Yeah.
different selections. And with us, are most of the times, if it's a flat race, a hilly race, it's most of the time the same riders always. So
There's
you
one clear
kind of,
favorite too that you
yeah,
work
also
for. Yeah,
one
I mean,
you
yeah.
know for who you ride, you know it already from in the beginning of the year who it will be. Yeah, it's Lotte Kopecky, you know. But yeah, I think because we are a lot, it's already less than it used to be, but we are a lot on the road together. You build also a kind of connection with each other that you need then during the championships.
And what is your role for the team there, Valerie? And then is it different from racing with Volker Wessels?
I know, no, it's quite the same. When I do races with the national team, I also a bit have that mentality now. I think in this period of my career, like I try to do everything for someone else. It sounds a bit silly, but you know, my job is to help the others to come as far as they can, and it's my biggest job now in Volker Wessels. But if I go on the road with the national team, it would also be exactly the same.
Yeah.
And what is your best memory in the Belgian jersey?
Wow, I have a
Yeah,
lot
there are
of good
quite some the
memories.
last couple of years, I think.
I think now on top was, I think for me, because I was not there in Glasgow when Lotte became world champion, but I was there in Zurich, which was maybe more unexpected that she would win a second time because she was having quite a difficult race, and then she came back and she won anyway. So I remember standing in front of the podium when she was getting the jersey again, and I was crying like a baby. So, but actually, it's maybe, you know, I've already been in the national team with Lotte also since the juniors. So if I just look back at the whole traject, you know, the whole route we did with the national team, and yeah, all kind of memories. I remember when we were juniors, we were sleeping with 8 in one room, and you know, cycling was far away, but the fun was really high, you know. So that kind of stories a lot, I think. But then if I sportive wise have to put one, is I think the world champion jersey of Kopecky. It's nice to be part of it.
Yeah, sure. And are you hoping to be selected to the Euros and Worlds this year, Valerie?
Nah, I don't think so. No, I think there are a lot of other girls who have more potential and can do more on that kind of course. So I have no hopes. Sounds a bit dramatic, but I'm not really. I would not select myself. I would say it that way. I would have other choices, because that's also the nice thing now. He can make a choice, you know. There are a lot of good Belgian riders. We have indeed Lotte Kopecky, who is far above, but underneath we have a really big group of riders where he can pick, because 8 riders can go. I remember times that there were world championships that there was difficulty to get 4 riders selected to, you know, but it's a really nice evolution, and not a lot of people realize that Belgian, the level of the Belgian cyclists is actually going quite high, you know. It's a bit under the radar because Kopecky is, you know, on top of it all. But I think in general, we have a really good base of Belgian cyclists. So I would not select myself, no. In an attacking role, try to be in a breakaway. Actually, this year I had a nice result in Dwars door de Westhoek because I was in the good breakaway, you know, that kind of things. But yeah, I like to do a bit of everything. But the last few years, yeah, it's mostly trying to position the riders and try to be in the breakaway. Perfect day for me in the peloton. Early breakaway, that you're away from all the stress. You know what would have been perfect? You know, this year, Nieuwsblad, I was between the bunch and the breakaway who got 14 minutes. We were the breakaway who got 6 minutes. But, you know, being in the breakaway of 14 minutes would have been the perfect day out, you know? No, just kidding. But the perfect day in a bunch is like, I like it if it's a bit like Antwerp Port Epic, for example. You know, it's going to be after 10K, you get the first gravel section. So you know from the start already a neutralization, is a bit of tension, and you know you have to be there. And then if you are there, then you are the whole race in the front, in the race, you feel the race. For me, that describes quite the perfect race. Like if you have from the start the perfect feeling that you're in the race, in the good breakaway, or in the good group, or at the good moment, at the right time, Yeah, it's indescribable sometimes, like how things can come together. So that's, for me, I like that the most. Yeah, I've always been a rider, and maybe that's also a bit of a disadvantage, but I like to be in the front of the peloton and not because then I stay awake, if I have the feeling like, okay, now I'm getting a bit too far behind, no, I have to go back to the front. So I try to constantly be in the race. And yeah, if you do a race a couple of times, you know the course. I know every hole in the road in Flanders, I would not say sidewalk because you cannot ride on them, but every place where you can move up a bit. So that kind of stuff helps a lot. Knowing the course, having the experience, also knowing what could happen in a race. If you are at the Molenberg, in which phase you are in the race and what other riders could try and do. So I always try to be in the race physically, but also mentally, actually. I could say very important. No, but I
Key
think
to success is
yeah,
Valerie Demey in your team.
No, but I think it's a bit underestimated how important riders are that help their leaders position. Because if you can imagine, for example, even if it's only a little bit in the beginning, even then it's already a big help. Because if you go to the first important place of the race, there are still 150 riders in the bunch. So from that moment on, you know that the bunch will be like accordion. So if you are the rider who puts your leader in a good position, and even if it's the only thing you do in that race, it's still important, because from that moment on, your leader is in the front. And in races like Nieuwsblad, Vlaanderen, from the first section till the last, if you are in the front, you are in the front. And if you are not in the front, you will never get there anymore. So I think it's a bit underestimated how important riders who offer themselves to do that are. Because imagine if you are your leader and you have to position yourself fully in the wind, and then again and again and again, yeah, then you're already dead before the finale begins. So thumbs up for the helpers.
Of course, put them in the spotlights. No, but you're right. They should be put a bit more in the spotlights. That's for sure. And then a lot of riders today, Valerie, still combine cycling with part-time job or part-time or full-time studies even. Did you ever combine other things alongside the bike? Well, you told us like, okay, when studying and biking became too hard, I just ditched the studying. So, but did you ever have to like manage a job to get financially? No, you
No.
just no.
Don't ask me how I did it, but
Yeah, that was maybe my next question.
no, I never, even in the beginning of my pro career, let's call it that way,
Mhm.
when I was not earning money, I was also not working. I have a lot to thank my parents for, because they were my personal sponsor, if I then put it that way. So I tried the studying racing combination, but yeah, for me it was not possible. I do have maybe a bit of talent, but I achieved most things by working hard, and I had to work a lot. So if I then also had to study, yeah, my mind would explode. So I got the opportunity from my parents, and I took it with both hands, and I tried to go all in cycling, and I worked pretty hard to get where I am and what I achieved. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Only now, yeah, I don't have high studies, but yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, it was a little gamble back then, but it turned out pretty good, right? In the end, yeah, sure. And then on the other side, how do you personally balance the intensity of racing with rest, especially like during the Spanish block, for example, after the Flemish and the Ardennes block, it's like full gas racing. So how do you balance that with rest, mental health, and still having a normal life?
Yeah, that's a good question. We are quite lucky, maybe, with Volker Wessels, that we can. This year we were the first or the second team in the standings of the Pro Tour. Yeah, so we got invitations for every race, but we can choose where we start. So, for example, the Spanish block we didn't do, so it opens up a bit more space to take your rest and take your time to recover towards the bigger races later on in the year. And we also quite a big team, so we ride a lot of races with the team, but we also have a big team. But yeah, it is true, and especially with the evolution, I think, of women's cycling, it's important to to keep attentive for having enough rest and mental. The topics last days. You spoke with them the past podcast also. So it's quite important to mainly keep the attention on it. But I don't have a clear answer on how I do it. Sometimes I also have difficult moments, and mentally I'm also like, and that everything is difficult. And sometimes then you start in the tour and everything is la la, and it's just try to find the balance in cycling life and personal life. But women's cycling is evolving so much that's even I sometimes have the feeling, is it even possible to have like a normal life and still be at the highest level in women's cycling? So it's quite difficult.
Yeah. And tell us, what are some of the sacrifices you make that fans never see? Like
Yeah,
they
well,
see
I
like,
think the
oh, cool,
biggest
the World Tour, Tour de France, but
it's all nice and all it's and it is nice. I don't want to be negative about it. It's really
Mhm.
nice and it's a nice lifestyle, but you have to work really really hard for it, and these days you need to have talent and work hard, so it's double up. But I think the biggest sacrifice is your social life. Maybe you have to say a lot of times no to events, to when your friends ask you to come, and at some point your friends give up asking, do you
Yeah.
want to come, because they know you're gonna say no. So I think that's maybe the biggest sacrifice I made in my career, is saying maybe even too much no to the things, because at one point you get so serious, you get so tunnel vision, you think you have to do everything for it. But now I think sometimes it's better to let it a bit go and say sometimes yes to the things. But I think that's the biggest sacrifice that you make as a pro cyclist.
And can we know what's your go-to ritual or guilty pleasure after a hard race, Valerie? Do you
When I was younger, I loved to stop at the frituur.
It's a snack bar for our non-Dutch speaking
for the snack bar.
listeners.
No, but now I think I'm always thinking about nice travels or stuff you can do that doesn't involve being a pro cyclist. Now that I'm being older, I start to think a bit more about these things. Having quality time at home with family, that kind of things is more important now. Yeah, we had a van. We built like a travel van to go on adventure, but the first weekend we went away with it, they stole it. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. Yeah. Oh,
so that was actually our plan, was to go as much as possible when we had the time away with the van, because it was easy. We didn't have to plan it in advance. We just get in the car and we ride and we take the bikes, So that would have been a nice go-to after hard races. So if everyone saw my van,
yeah. Oh, there's still no sign of it.
no. I think, I think we're never gonna see it again.
Jesus.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then maybe just make a quick sidestep from Valerie as a person to just the actual racing going on. Maybe Sarah, or maybe even Valerie, because you were even there. We can start with the strange. Well, actually, that's non-racing news because part of the teams didn't race in Romandy. Like there was quite some tension between the UCI and some teams apparently. Some teams just dropped out. Was it just like eyes staring to each other and being the most stubborn child? I saw the message popping up and I was like, oh my god, what happened there? And then I started reading into it and I was like, what's the issue here actually? What are we talking about? I mean, this exploded. Huh? What's your take actually on what happened, Valerie?
Yeah, I did the same. We also read the article a couple of times and we were like, what exactly happened? Why did they rule out those teams? No, it was a bit unclear. We know what it was about. I rode with the tracker, so I knew it's about this tracker. This is
Yeah.
the issue. But maybe it's like you say, a bit of staring, didn't want to give in. Not UCI, not the teams. Yeah, it's really unclear. I think it's quite clear in the statement that they made. It's about the communication and safety and this and that. But yeah, it's a bit heavy that they just rule out 5 teams, I think. It was really weird. It was bizarre. It's still a bit. I would like to tell you a lot about it, but yeah, I don't know a lot about it actually. So it's a bit the same as you. they made a statement, and I think that's the reason why they got why they got ruled out. So yeah.
Yeah, you had the same reaction like we did, like, oh,
Yeah,
what? But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I saw the tracker and I was like, okay, this is the issue.
yeah, what are we
So,
talking
yeah.
about? Like this? This is the
Yeah,
issue.
this is it was like this, and I was like, okay, this is the problem, and yeah, it's a bit silly, that this happens, and it happens again in women's cycling. There was already all the talks about Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. There was
Yeah.
more a headline than her win of the Tour. Now it is this, women's cycling. It's a lot of negativity for nothing, actually, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
Yeah. And then the actual racing, well, it opened.
No, it was a bit robot.
Try again, Sarah. I think we can hear you now.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way of saying it. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, a bit of that, like UCI decides to do this, and then they expect that everybody would agree with it, and that's now not how the things works. And I think it's maybe exactly like you say, they just didn't want to say yes all the time.
Yeah.
Good said, I think.
Yeah, and then the actual racing actually happened too, but then it opened up probably like some nice opportunities for some riders, I think, with the disappearing of 5 teams. Like we have Paula Blasi winning that ITT, like really she has arrived. She came out of nowhere probably in the beginning of the year. It's like, hey, Paula Blasi, like, yeah, she's getting some nice results there, but now she's like,
yeah, but I'm
chic.
actually curious if those other teams would have been on the start. I also expect her to have ridden like top 10 or something.
Yeah, for sure.
So I actually don't think that the level of the racing was lower. Only, like you say, there was maybe like not a Nieuwia Doma, not a really one specific good rider. It was more like base level.
Yeah.
But it still went freaking hard, and with all climbers there at the start, so it was actually still heavy racing. The only thing you now had, it was a small bunch, so you didn't really have to fight real hard for your position. So
yeah.
That made it a bit different.
Yeah, and maybe like some contenders were relieved that Kasia Niewiadoma was not at the start line because she was, well, in pretty good form. So I think she was like the number one favorite to win Romandy, I think. After all what happened already for her, so maybe that was a nice thing. So yeah, but we saw some nice stages like the ITT with Paula Blasi who won. Then Blanca Vaz took one before Paula Blasi in the final stage. Elise Chabet again showed her form. She can ride any terrain. She can ride Flanders Classic. She can ride the Ardennes. She can ride the Grand Tours. She can ride small tours. I mean,
that's how old women's cycling was, All the riders were good at everything, and it's now something from the last years that you really have, I don't want to really say it, and I hope it's not going this way, but it's starting to get a bit more like men's racing. Riders are picking their period. They go on altitude to prepare themselves. They are out of competition for a really long time, and then they perform at one point, and then it's done. And like you say, Chappie, she's a bit everywhere still. And I think Demey Demey Valerie is also an old school rider who wants to be everything, but you see it's actually almost not possible anymore to be good everywhere. But Shabby, it was nice to see that because in all the three, because it were actually 3 different kind of stages. It was a climbing TT, it was like a hilly finish, a hill finish, a climbing finish, and it was a bit of a classic stage, a bit like in between Flanders and Liège. So it's nice that in all 3 stages she performs actually quite good. While you see like an Ooskap, for example, you knew the last stage she would have it difficult because it's not her terrain. Her terrain is like the day before, long climb, wide road, not too hectic. So yeah, nice to see.
Yeah, it ended up quite a heartbreaker for Uska Sigard, actually.
Yeah.
It's nice. I think she was very happy that the bunch was only 50 people. So
Yeah.
that opened up a lot of possibilities for Uska Sigard, and she
Yeah.
took it. And then
Yeah.
she had the small
I was
heartbreak on the
also,
last stage. Like,
I was also thinking about Sarah Gigante. She was also
Yeah.
on your podcast.
Yeah.
You know, it would also been quite nice for her because
Yeah.
it was completely a race for her. You know, uphill finish, no hectic, small bunch. But actually, yeah, Uska is the same type of rider, so
Yeah.
it was quite heartbreak in the last stage that
Yeah.
she loses it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you think like, okay, Shabe is nice that she wins the GC, but on the other hand, it's like, yeah, I don't know how to feel because you just yeah, Uska Sigard would be a nice winner as well, of
Yeah,
course.
It would be. She would have also deserved it. You know,
Mhm.
she already had a lot of great results in the past, and then to win a World Tour race would have been nice. But on the other
Yeah.
hand, it's also nice for Shabby to win in her own country, of course.
Mhm.
So it's also a nice
Yeah.
story.
That's for sure. Yeah. And then,
But let's
Yeah.
be honest,
and then
heartbreak
we had
was
Steffi Heberlin.
heartbreak was kind of the
Go
theme
on, Sar, go on.
for She Rides this week. We had Lotte Klaas who crashed out on the Belgian Championships gravel. So she was like together with Marta Treij. I think it was
Oh,
on
yeah.
2 kilometers of the finish. Yeah, it was just
I s-
not a very good corner. So that was sad. Then we will talk about that later, Sigrid Haugset, who was in the attack and then got caught back 50 meters before the finish in the sprint.
Yeah, like
Oh yeah, that
literally
was
50.
Was it Egmond?
in the Belgian
Egmond.
race,
Yeah, it
was
was
it?
Egmond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Egmond Classic.
Like I was literally in a tea room and I was like, oh, this is going on. Let me check. And I was like 12 kilometers. Okay,
Yeah.
I can't watch this. And I was like, oh, this is Sigrid. And it was looking very good. And then I was like, oh, that was sad. And then, you think it can get worse.
I was on swaddy duties.
Yeah, and then we also have Sarah Gigante
Yeah, I
who
was on
broke
swaddy
her
duties with the
femur.
O'Shea team, and then it was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
True.
Like,
Oh, that's really.
yeah. So actually it was...
She's in the shape
Yeah.
of her life, you know?
Yeah.
And there has also for her been so much bad luck. Like I thought, okay, we are through this. Now is her time. And then it's like, again, like you just can't make it up anymore.
No, yeah, it's like she says in her post, it was Sarah, I don't know, 3.0. So that's the summary, I think, of all the bad luck she had,
Yeah.
and now again this, and you know, it's such a shitty. Yeah, it's I hope she gets through it quite well and quite fast, so that we see her again next year.
Yeah. Well, but as said, there were some Belgian races last week. First off, we had Yvonne Reinders, which I kind of unexpectedly went to, because first I was like, Connie Hayes, from the podcast, was like, yeah, I'm in Belgium. And I was like, yeah, but right at that time I'm going to the UK, so very bad timing again. But yeah, then I thought, okay, why not? The only painful thing is that the day after I had to wake up at 4 to get to the ferry, but I went anyway. So I got to watch Connie's brilliant Swanee skills. I have to admit, I thought it would be worse. It was okay. I think like 2/3 actually worked. So it was okay. But yeah, I also saw Valerie Demey there, the other Valerie on the podcast, which was very nice.
Oh yeah.
I also had a small photo shoot, which it was pretty good, but it's always a bit awkward for me. And it's like you're looking in the camera and then it's like, okay, yeah, now you can be yourself. And it's like, oh shit, how do I be myself? So apart from that, the race was...
And I think it was also quite a nice...
Yeah. The race was super attractive. It was also the big thing, I think, was there was no SE Works at the start, which plays big factor. So there was no Rebus. So it was just a very attractive race. And in the end, I think we got, again, a very unexpected winner, because every year it's at the start. It's like, yeah, this could be a bunch sprint, but every year it's a break that wins. And then it was Tonetti who took it before Campbell, which is, of course, as well a crazy story. And also to get here
really
second,
crazy.
like not having ridden almost no European races at all this year, and then to just go to Yvonne Reinders and just
And
take
no
second
UCI
there.
races, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
So yeah, and then it's a Volkers Wessels, Eline Janssen on 3. Yeah, someone asked me for my race favorite at the start, and I mentioned her, so I think it was a good guess.
Oh, okay. Now, actually, me and Eline switched places. Normally, she would ride Romandie and I would ride Yvonne Reinders. So
Yeah, you were the mystery
it's good
there,
that she started
actually.
there.
It was at the start like, where's Valerie
really?
Demey the whole time? And I was like, okay, you could have also just checked pro cycling stats and you would have seen. It was like, first it was at the
Wow, that's
start.
quite nice that they were looking for me.
It was at the start presentation, and then I think it was in the commentary. It was again like, huh, she didn't start here, and then it took them a while to discover you were somewhere else.
Then they put on Tour de Romandie and they saw me riding there.
But yeah, since
And then you have like the Spider-Man meme, like, huh?
but yeah, since I was with O'Shea there, it was quite good to see Sonera. She was the final guest of the TOP talks. She was there and she did quite a good race. She got 16th overall. But the funny thing, yeah, you know, she's from South Africa. And when I arrived at the parking, the first thing also I thought was when I arrived at Yvonne Reinders, I was like, oh, this really feels like women's cycling again. After like being 9 days at the Tour de France, I was like, yeah, okay, this feels like women's cycling. And then I
Back
arrived.
to reality.
It was like I kind of felt at home again. And then I came with O'Shea, but because first there were some buses out there, and I was like, where are all the Conti teams? And they were just like on one big parking lot, all the cars, and they had like this, I don't know how to say it in English, but like this big metal box was there for them to stay cool. But of course, you know, if it's like 30 degrees outside, it's not cool in there.
Yeah.
And then I arrived, and it was like all the riders were before the race already sweating and hot. And then it was Sonera who said like, "Whoa, it's crazy hot in here." And I was like, "Yeah, but aren't you from South Africa or something? Shouldn't you be used to it?" But well, apparently they race at like 6 or 7 in the morning.
Heat just hits different.
So that was interesting.
I think the Belgian heat hits different.
Yeah, no, I was like, yeah, but you know, 2 days ago it was like 5 degrees hotter here, right? And then, yeah, they were completely shocked. But I think they finished with 3 or something. So it was kind of good. They lost one of the riders, though, during the race in the local laps. There was just one rider who didn't show up anymore. And later they found her at the place, sleeping at the place where the vans were parked and stuff. So that was... yeah, a bit scary. She was sleeping there.
That's a special story.
So that was, everyone was like, a bit, where is she? Because there was like one lap we didn't saw her, and she was like, okay, she will.
The trekker.
Yeah,
The tracker,
exactly.
yeah.
They should have put the trekkers from Romandie and Yvonne Reinders.
Yeah. So that yeah, was pretty special, but good they found her in the end, actually.
Yeah. Nice story.
That's where the panic came from during Egmont race, Sarah, because at a certain moment they didn't count all 6 O'Shea
Yeah, that's
riders
where it
after
comes
the
from,
first big
probably,
lap or
yeah.
something, and there was like a slight little panic, like, have we seen all 6? Have we seen all 6? Did we lose someone? Now I get it where it comes from.
But it is really scary though, if you have like laps of 20k and then there's like, okay, one time, okay, it's like, okay, she's out of race, she will arrive, and then it's a second lap, and then it's a third lap, and then it's like, everyone's like, did we see her? And then it's like calling to the car, did you see her? No, we didn't see her as well. And then calling, and then asking to the one who also didn't finish, who was with her, did you see her? I was like, yeah, no, I just know she exploded, and that's what I know. So it was quite some chaos and some worries there. Yeah, probably that's why they were pretty stressy there. But yeah, as we said, we've had Egmont as well, and yeah, it was just heartbreaking. Yeah, I didn't like it. Good for Alzini, really nice
but
from
the
her.
course sucked, Sarah. But the course really sucked. They reversed the finish line
Mhm.
from last year, so it was now completely downhill. I mean, who approved
Ooh.
this kind of thing? Yeah.
Oh.
It was dangerous. In Tottenham, you do the small bridge, you take the
Mhm.
bridge, and then you
Yeah.
go downhill to the. Yeah, it was like, whoa, who approved this course? And like,
Yeah.
the rumor in the peloton after the race was like, well, actually, we're pretty lucky that this was today 35 degrees and we only finished with 50 to 60 people in the bunch, because
Yeah,
otherwise,
not
this would have
Mm.
been really
Fwah.
tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
that's
was
not
like,
good.
whoa. And if it was a little bit uphill, Sigrid would have definitely won. I was cheering so hard. I was like, come on. And then I saw her at the finish line and I was like, how close were you, Sigrid? And she was like, literally 15 meters. Like,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
You
Ah,
saw
it
it
was
on
so
the
painful.
images. Yeah, I saw it. It was heartbreaking. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. But she
Um,
could laugh about it as well. She could shrug it off quite easily, to be
Yeah.
honest. She was
But
like,
I think afterwards, when she
Yeah.
won, she probably replays it like, where have I missed it? Where could I've gone faster? I know.
But you do realize this was her dream race win scenario, right? She said like, I'll never in my life be able to win a sprint of a group or a bunch sprint, so I want to do
Yeah.
a solo and make it look
Yeah.
like I won the bunch
Yeah.
sprint. She said that, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been quite nice, actually.
So yeah.
Then you
Yeah,
can
the
say, I won a bunch sprint.
Yeah, the pictures would have looked like, hey, look who I've beaten here. Come
Yeah,
on,
yeah,
to your
yeah.
grandchildren later, like, hey, this was me, the sprinter.
So yeah, apart from that, I didn't really see anything of it. I just saw like the last 12 kilometers. I don't know if you can tell anything more about it.
Well, like Sigrid was on the break the whole day.
Mhm.
Like she was part of the first break, and they stayed away like pretty long, and then she went solo. But we missed that part, of course, as well, because we were just on one place, fixed place to in the
Mhm.
feeding zone. And then she went solo for the last, I don't know how much was it, last 12 k, I think. Then when she went
Yeah,
solo.
something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and the end result we saw, right?
Mhm.
It's like
That's so
yeah.
painful.
Yeah, it sucked because it was not coming out of nowhere. She was like attacking all day long. She was like from the beginning, she was in the front of the peloton. She made the early breakaway, and then
They always
yeah,
ride. They always ride quite attacking with
Yeah.
the team. So it's quite nice if then, because I remember in Omloop de Kempen, it also turned out pretty good for them when I think Tracy won that race.
yeah, April
cool.
Tasty, yeah.
So yeah, it's nice that it's good to see that it also sometimes works. Now
Yeah.
it was really close, and that's that's painful. But it's also nice to see that it also sometimes works, and they race like this. So it's good to see.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and ask before the race to the DS to Tone from Team Coop, like, hey, what's the expectation? Like, repeat the 6th place of India last year? And she was like, nah, no, we don't have expectations today. Like, the course changed, the finish line is flat, so yeah, we have a bunch sprint.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
was afterwards like, you're liar, really. You had a master plan all cooked up, actually.
But to that, we also need to add that Secret is selected
So,
for
yeah.
the Worlds, which is also very nice to see.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice for her. That's
It's gonna
like,
be a big experience, I think, in Rwanda.
Yeah.
yeah, to say the least. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we will make cycling great in Africa. Don't worry about it, Valerie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, anyway, but it's a great reward for the good season she has. She
Yeah,
has
that's
ridden
true.
really good. She maybe a bit under the radar because she's not world tour, but
Yeah, and
for
maybe
her
also
and
because
at
she
the Conti
broke her
level,
hip
she's really
at
having a
Roubaix,
really good
maybe
season.
as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and she finished Roubaix.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that story.
And I was like, because Christopher is, of course, he has the cool bias. And I was like, I sent him a message like, oh, there's someone not walking very well on the velodrome from Coop. And he was like, yeah, it's secret, but it's okay. She's kind of walking, so it's okay. And then in the evening, I was like, what the hell? You finished Roubaix with a broken hip. Like, crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. Whoa. Yeah.
But yeah,
Ouch.
good she's back and she's doing quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And good news for her, so that's really cool.
Yeah. And then today we had another race. This one I did watch. like kind of, because you've noticed my Wi-Fi connection isn't great. That was the same during I tried to watch the race. But from what I've got, it was actually a very exciting break. Like already from the start, they were attacking. Mainly, Movistar was very attractive, and then we had some other teams also, like Human Powered Health was also trying, Focus Vessels as well. But there wasn't really getting
Oop, within the Agrangé, little
Yeah,
bias here,
yeah.
Sar.
that was the first break, of course.
Thank you.
But yeah, there didn't really there was just not a big group getting away, because it was like every time someone attacked, and Wiebes herself was also kind of racing defensively on like the Movistar attack. She was almost always countering, so it was like, although it was a very exciting race to watch, it was like already from like, I think Wiebes was already reacting from like 80k to go, and it was like, okay, this is a nice race, but we all know who's gonna take the win here, because even if it isn't a brunch sprint, she will be in the front in some way. And then like, yeah, the sprint for her, is.
But then it's also nice that she races,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
I sometimes think, does she feels guilty that other teams are pulling as well in the peloton, that she says like, yeah, but I want to make the race too, so people can see that it's not on a dinner plate presented to me by other teams. Should she
yeah,
think
but
that
I think
sometimes?
also she just sometimes want to race and not always
Mhm.
wait and sprint, you know. It
Yeah.
makes her a better rider to also be part of the race. So it's quite
Yeah.
nice to see it actually.
Yeah.
It's like Mathieu van der Poel. I was
Yeah,
bored.
yeah.
I
Exactly.
just wanted to race.
Just want
But
to
yeah,
race.
oh, if you see her sprint, like it doesn't really look like she has been racing all day or something. It was like not even a sprint. It was like before she was in the
Yeah.
perfect place to go into the corner, and then it was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, and then she looked back, and it was like, okay, I've got this. And then it's like, I don't know, it were like
It still looks
10
like a
bike
breakaway.
lines or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like she was in the breakaway,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Then it was
But
Susanne
yeah.
Andersen on 2 and Sherry Bolset on 3. That was quite a close one. And then behind there, it was also quite a gap before Pellegrini and Fortin. But it was a nice race, just with the expected winner.
That's also not so bad sometimes,
Nah.
you know.
You can't have it all.
No, you can't have it all.
Well, then we also have in 2 days for us a Tour de l'Avenir FAM starting. I don't know if we need to talk, but it's quite a filled participants list. Like for the moment, Bunel, the 2 homegruns, Chaboko, just threw it, Imogen Wolf, like Millie Cousins, Nienke
And
Yeah, it will
Venke.
be a high quality race, I think.
Yeah, Laura de Schepper,
Paula
Fleur
Blasi.
Moors, Marie Schreiber.
And
Yeah.
the French teams are
Yeah,
Bunel, Julie Bégaud, Célia Géry.
well, yeah, that's looking like a very stacked Tour de l'Avenir, actually.
Yeah, it will be a high quality race, I think. I'm curious how the Belgians will do it. But I think it will be quite
Yeah.
it's a strong team. So I
Mhm.
think they will be quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Laura de Schepper and Fleur Moors will do
Yeah,
in
yeah.
particular. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I think Laura is also now just back from altitude camp. So yeah, I don't want to say it, but I think she also has high expectations for herself. So I'm curious.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think there's a way to watch
And
it.
about the
Like,
parkour,
I saw
I
polls.
don't have anything.
Yeah, no, parkour, I also don't know. But I think it's
Yeah, I
like
don't know.
on Eurosport and stuff. I think you can watch it. I think I saw that on Instagram today.
On HBO
nice.
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Because it's hard. That's what I know. Tour de
Yeah.
l'Avenir is hard. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I know. And if I
A lot
just
of
see the
climbing.
places, well, yeah. If I just see the start and finish places, is it? Yeah, okay. It's like Tignes. Whatever else do we have there? Yeah, La Rosière, for example. So yeah, so you know it's gonna be hard.
Yeah. Now it's nice that they do it for the under 23. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see there's a women's version as well.
yeah, for sure.
We need it.
Yeah. But it's also nice now that the world's the under 23 is also now, I think so, apart from the elite category. So
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
a race
should
on
be.
its own and not during the elites. So yeah, it's much better, and I think there is enough quality and enough quantity to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not also again a nice development, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And then some other news. A big surprise, I think. Charlotte Kool is leaving Picnic PostNL and joining Phoenix Gunning immediately. It's like, yeah, you can do it now if everyone agrees. So the new team, the old team, and of course Charlotte herself. So yeah, I don't think anyone saw this coming. It was like,
No, it was a big surprise.
yeah, it was like, whoa, am I reading this right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then even what came after, it was like with immediate effect. This is my last week with team Picnic PostNL. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, what? Did I read this? Like, this is not a transfer for next season. This
Yeah.
is like now. Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy and it's quite exceptional that it happened. So
Mhm.
yeah, you want to know the reason. I think everybody
Yeah.
wants to know the reason, but I'm also curious now how she will perform
Yeah.
with Appelsien. So yeah, different. Yeah, it's gonna be quite different. I think
Mhm.
seeing
Yeah.
Cole in that jersey. I think maybe already this season.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
She
I
does
don't know
have
with her
a very
injury
good
if
squad,
she's
I think.
planning on racing.
Yeah, I think if it's with immediate effect,
Yeah.
I think you will actually race because otherwise you can wait till next year or next season, I think. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's also true.
Maybe she's aiming for Chongming in China, the China race. That's like
Possible.
that suits her. It's only
Mhm.
one bridge and that's it actually.
Yeah, China is quite flat.
That's where the Chongming Island is, where the com is on top of the only bridge on the parkour.
Yeah.
You get the com jersey if you finish there first.
It's also nice that it's not always the com jersey for the real climbers, you know.
Yeah.
Also, like other people can take it.
Exactly.
So I was just also about to say, I think that was it for the latest news, and now we can go over back to the other questions again. So Valerie, what's left on the calendar this season?
My next race will be CIMAC,
Mhm.
Ladies Tour, and until then, it's not really determined yet which races I'm gonna do. If I can make if I can, how you say it, think about it, I think it will be the 2 French races still, and then also Binge, and maybe somewhere in between another race, but
Mhm.
not super much anymore. But in the end, CIMAC is again, I think, 5
Mhm.
days
Yeah.
or 6 days. So still enough race days to go.
Yeah. And then for the future it's looking a little bit different than maybe most people would think. No, you won't be a world tour rider anymore
Yeah.
next year, right?
No, that's right. It's not really a secret, but I haven't told a lot of people yet. So I'm busy doing my last year as a rider, and I'm hoping next year I can be in the car behind the peloton. So in the role of a DS. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for now at this moment. Not anymore as a rider in the bunch, but as a DS. It's something I discovered the couple of months, and I really like it. And I have the feeling that I can develop there myself more than I still can as a rider. So that's what I'm aiming for in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, that will be super nice to see. And
So now the news is out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
Let's see if Nieuwsblad picks it up again.
Yeah. Headliner.
Yeah, but actually I think we can both agree that we think you will do quite well, because as one of our questions just underneath was, do you see yourself becoming NDS in the future? So I think we believe that you can be very helpful to the other riders.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. It's nice to hear. Thank you.
And meanwhile, we got that question sorted out too. So,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, yeah, I really hope. I really hope I can find a way to help the riders as much as I can. And I think I have a lot of experience in the bunch now,
Mhm,
and I also have a lot of ups and downs in my career, and I learned a lot from it. So I hope I can share it next year
Yeah.
and make riders better.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You will, Valerie, definitely. You will. No worries
Thank
about
you.
that.
Thank you.
Well, and then something completely different of the bike. What do you love doing the most?
Actually, a couple of things. Maybe you know or you don't know, but I have like an alter ego, and it's Chef de May. So I really like cooking.
Yeah.
I'm also working on like a cooking book.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I really love it to experiment, but also just to make recipes out of a book and then make them different, or try to make something I really like in other ways. So that's one thing I really like. And I also just like go walking, actually. It's something I discovered like many people during Corona.
Uh-huh.
And I never stopped doing it. It's like a nice way of slowing down, like slowing
Yeah.
the time down, put the phone away and just go out in the nature and walk. So that are maybe the two things I like the most besides.
Yeah. Something I've also found. How serious is your carrot addiction?
My?
Yeah, carrot addiction.
Carrot addiction.
You got that from Margot, I think.
No, it was on the site.
It's out. It's on the streets, actually, Valerie. It's on the website of Volker Wessels.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I
it
know
is.
from the
How did they know that?
yeah, from the time I prepared the podcast for Margot, I found your site, and it has been very helpful in discovering random facts. Just as Margot's peanut addiction, there was on that you apparently have a carrot addiction. So
Oh boy, now it's under control now, but there was a time that my palms, were being orange because I ate so much carrots. I don't know, I was like, it was not good. It was a bad addiction. It was not good. No, there are more worse things than carrots, but it's not good for your teeth, and you become to see orange. But it's under control now. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't see that one coming, that's for
No.
sure.
I thought that was still a big secret, but yeah.
No, it's open and bluntly out on the streets even. Yeah. It
I
doesn't
think I-
take a lot of research.
I think I will contact the social media team from Volker Wessels.
Or maybe Margot, maybe she spread the rumor to the social media guy.
Yeah, I don't know how they know it. Maybe I filled it in myself, I don't know.
yeah, it felt like you said it yourself. Like
Yeah, I think, they send those questions always at training camp. Like, when you're already a couple of days training and then you're tired and then you get those questions and then you have to fill them in. I think it was at the moment where I was like after a 6-hour ride, and then I was like, okay, now I fill in the questions. So
Bad idea, Valerie.
bad
idea.
idea. Bad idea.
That's what they count. That's what they're counting on, actually.
Yeah,
you,
they know when they send it. Yeah, they are
you're
not
completely
stupid.
cooked after training camp, and then
Yeah.
it's like, hey, by the way, should we know something about you? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Not to eat too much carrots, no. No, I think, it's maybe the advice everybody gives, but if you are young, then don't get too fast, too serious. Try to enjoy the bike, the cycling, because that's why you start, and you need to keep the fun as long as possible, and maybe even try to keep it throughout your whole career, because that's the way you will make the longest career. Enjoy what you do, be serious, but also try to find a nice balance. And especially when you're young, you will have time enough to live 110% for your sport. So don't start too young being too serious, and enjoy what you do, because it's such a nice environment, such a nice sport. Yeah, I think that would be my advice to young girls. And careful with the carrots.
Careful with the carrots. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a nice wrap for our 40th episode. It's like episode 40, and it's already like every guest who's telling us like, have fun, girls, have fun
Yeah.
what you do. I mean, that is like this.
It's
They
like
should
a
take
red line.
notice.
But it's also true. It is the most important thing, because otherwise, why do something that it's not fun?
Yeah, me as a coach from young riders as well. That's the first thing I tell them. Like, you have to train 10 hours a week. When you become a new 17, so you better like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, like, why are you doing it even?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Seriously.
it's true. Yeah.
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 And that's and then the only thing that's left then, Valerie, is saying a big thank you very much for showing up
Yeah.
in this episode. Very
Thank you.
insightful. We wish you all the best for your DS career kicking off, and of course for the remainder of the season with
Thank
Volker
you.
Wessels. We are definitely sure you will do great on and off the bike. That's for sure. So no hesitation here. Contact her. She's available next year for a DS position. So no hesitation here.
Thank
Just
you.
do it.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Valerie.
Thank you.
So that's a wrap for episode 40 of She Rides. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the ride.
Absolutely. Women's cycling is packed with action and we're here to bring you every twist and turn.
Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music or YouTube so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And if you like today's show, a rating, like or comment really helps us reach more listeners.
Follow us on Blue Sky and Instagram for behind the scenes updates, our hashtag Guess the Guest game and more.
Thanks to Valerie for joining us today and don't hesitate to share your questions or topics you'd like us to cover.
Stay tuned for more exciting guests and join our prediction competition. Tag She Rides podcast on Blue Sky to show off your knowledge, and She Rides is powered by Kariam Endurance Coaching.
Thanks for listening to She Rides, the podcast where women's cycling takes lead. Keep watching the fun and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.